Morning all. Okay, so let's carry on with another 15-minute game this morning. So, can we get a game? Who's on the ICC? Jabuka. Right, so I'll play for a dynamic opening. I'm thinking of giving up the English opening, actually. I lost a horrible game at London Classic, I haven't got over yet. And I'm not sure C4 actually fits in with my style that much as E4. It's a personal thing, I guess, openings matching your style. Okay, what's this? Interesting. So can I just try and directly go onto those light squares? Knight h4 as a classic Fischer game with knight h4 and queen h5. It's quite dangerous, I think, here, because it'll be getting a pin on g6. Knight g6, queen h5. This might be a short game. Okay. Or am I being optimistic? Does g6 sort out the issues? If I try and break open the position now with f4. Maybe f5. Would get a kind of bind. Okay, he's released the tension in the centre. So f5 gives up the e5 square, but he can't castle at the moment. So I wonder if I need to be concerned about this. I don't really want to give the e5 square up. If I just castle here and see what happens. This bishop's not developed. f5, knight e5. We could just calculate that a bit. If that knight's really as good looking as functional as it's good looking. Okay. Not a problem now for e5. If I did want to desperately play it, or f5 rather. f5. That would shut the bishop down. Mark out e6. It is at the moment lower ratings than I would on the I think I'm just in the provisional rating period at the moment on this 15-minute auto pairing, by the way. So queen e3, there's f5 for bishop d4 if he wanted to do that. Mind you, that's check, so I think I can play queen e3. f5 also hits the knight, so he might be tempted. No, I don't think he's going to be tempted for f5, surely not. But if I can get in f5, I'm closing in that bishop. Again, giving e5 for this knight now. Okay. Okay, time to close the bishop, I think. So, knight d4 to e6 or queen g3. This bishop's out of the game. Oh no, queen f3, knight b3, queen h5. There's no brilliancy here, is there? Queen g5 and f6. I don't think so. So, queen f3 is probably not worth it. He's going to take off this bishop. I'm only going to have my queen for the attack. G takes queen h5. Unless e5 is effective there, but d takes, because f takes, there might be f6. I think moving the knight is sensible. But this bishop, there's a question again, do I try and break open the king side? It's a defensive bishop, or just try and use the queen side, just try and be a piece up here with that bishop. Probably, I think I'd like to go with the idea of just being a piece up, if possible. Let's keep a bind on d5 first. Maybe queen d3 here. d5, say knight b5, d5 might be strong. I think I want to hold on to d5 control. Maybe knight d4. or knight d5 even, just to simplify, to just expose this as an endgame problem. Mind you, it can come out later, right? Like say rook f7 or rook e8, bishop f8. As soon as that pawn moves, she's trying to liberate, put more pressure on it. The rook's not doing much, I think, there, so usefully to play it here instead. Mind you, he's on f5, so he could potentially play d5 with. I don't really think d5's playable. He's playing it. Am I not protecting f5? That's the thing. Has he got queen b6? With this bishop out of the game, I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to take this. Takes. Get the queens off. That's what I wanted anyway. A position where we're going into an ending with that bishop on g7, but it has got, it can wriggle out. So b6, bishop b7. I'm going to get a rook on the 7th. Knight d4 might be useful for hook on e6. Bishop e3 and just bishop e3 or g4 just to free the rook. Mind you, it weakens the diagonal for b6 and bishop e7. But then knight d4. I mean, getting another piece out is tempting as well. Just bishop e6, bishop e3 to b6. If b5, there's rook b5. Okay. The bishop wasn't doing much there. So, if I can get bishop b6 in, I like the look of that positioning. So b5, rook b5. Okay, bishop b6 looks a bit juicy for hemming in the pieces, but is there something stronger? There's rook e2 of a counterplay, but maybe rook d8. We'll just rook e1, collect the rook. If rook c2, rook e8 is even better with the other rook, maybe. King f7, rook d8. Looks to be end of game pretty soon. So this bishop can come out now. Bishop f8 though. What about king f2, g4, knight d4? I'll just play king f2 for a moment, just to stop rook e2s. Just trying to restrict all the possibilities of the pieces. I think g4 next would free up the rook. Okay, free the rook up. So rook e1 just pins the bishop. Unless there's bishop c5, there isn't. Bishop d8, I just take. I think he's running out of moves, actually, this guy. So knight d4. To e6. So, okay, I think he's slowly running out of moves here. Bishop, rook tied in. With this rook, it's not that loose for a bishop c5 check. Right, I can try and play bishop c5 here. It gets rid of a key defensive piece. It might be the time to try and get the rooks really Working or keep the bind, that's the thing. Do I keep the bind? Or knight e6, the d8 check looks pretty good. Or even to c7. Knight e6 looks a bit good. h5, knight c7, rook b8. It looks a bit of a shame to play bishop c5. Takes bishop d7, rook c7, rook d8, and letting him out a bit. But how would I like show more pressure here? Is there actually an exploitable weakness if I don't? Knight e6 just looks good. I think I'm going to play this. But it's offering the opportunity. I don't know, that pawn could be pretty huge though. If he takes on e6. To give me that pawn, surely that is a major pawn. So h5, h3. His rook could come and give me a check, maybe. He's working with these pieces. I thought this was bad, but now these two are quite bad. Right, so I think it's worth getting this pawn on e6. It's only 2 steps away from queening, so get into unblockade mode for this pawn. Rook d7. Start to put pressure on b7 and e7. If rook c8, maybe c4, and not minding bishop c5s. By that time, this pawn looks pretty menacing. Okay. So rook d8, sorry, d7. So now, okay, so c4, this is protected, so bishop c5 is not a problem. So I think c4, just to try and shut down, counterplay a bit more on the c file, even before it happens, rook c8. Maybe get the king off the dark square would be good. Or just let this rook check. I could hijack the h file if the rook did come in to win b2 pawn. It's like an underdeveloped state, so giving this road into the position might be a good idea. So rook h2, just king g3, he takes rook h1, got a road into the position, hijacking. Otherwise king g2 anyway, or king g3 maybe. Or king g2 here. So is a4 now a threat? Say king g2, a4? I don't know, there's it doesn't seem as easy as, I don't know, maybe before. Can I march the king over here? I don't know. King g2, well c5 would mean I can play rook a1 potentially. I think c5 might be interesting. So he's getting counterplay with both rooks on the sides. So have I messed this up big time? I can pretend as I'm going for that pawn, wait for the check, king g3, takes rook h1. That would seem like a good idea actually. So holding this rook, basically, encouraging this rook for a little bluff to take on b2, to play rook h1 after. Now, okay, it's getting a bit tricky again. c5 maybe. Again, this bluff is there, but is he going for it? He's not going for it. He's not giving me the h file. As soon as I play rook b7, he's got bishop c5 winning the rook. Okay, he's going to give me the h file. Maybe. His position's becoming critical. Alright, he's taking that pawn as well. Getting this h file rook. I'm losing another pawn over there. Hopefully of not too much significance compared to the rook quality. that I've now got with rook h8. So stop the checks by getting the king maybe to f5 to g6. He did seem to get a lot of counterplay there so far. It's not over yet. He's got a passed a pawn. Is he going to sacrifice the exchange? That's the key thing. I'll probably expect now soon. Yes. So check. King g7 doesn't do much. I think I have to win this exchange. Still rook h8's probably strong. So position's critical. Rook on the 7th, rook threatening to come down to the 8th. Okay, I think he's going into a nasty pin here. Just rook e8 looks pretty severe. So rook e6 and just take rook up. I think it's game over. Just take this. There's no stalemate trick. As soon as f5 happens, just check and take the pawn. So Jabuka, what's his ratings like? It's been up to 1908 on the 15-minute. His 5 minutes pretty low, but he's only played about 5 minutes. Okay. Okay, I think just check. Taking the pawn. Alright. So it was an interesting game with the hemmed-in bishop, and how to exploit the hemmed-in bishop. I think I didn't go too mad on the king side, like I did in the recent London Classic with h4. No need for h4 unless. So that was a decision to get rid of his bad bishop, but it gave me an asset, this pawn, which is pretty dangerous and useful protecting d7 against cheapos. So this was a kind of trying to hijack the H file here, which seemed to work eventually. That was taken. Okay, comments or questions on YouTube? Thanks very much.